Today, we are diving deep into what is, without a doubt, the most complex and incredible structure in the known universe. It's the master control system, the central command for every single thing you think, feel, and do. We're talking about your nervous system.
So let me just ask you something right off the bat. What do you think is the single most sophisticated machine we know of? Is it some massive supercomputer? A rocket ship?
Well, the answer is actually sitting right inside your own head. It's your brain and the absolutely vast network it controls. And to really get a handle on it, we're going to look at it like it's a massive corporation. So let's pull up the organizational blueprint.
Okay, let's get into it. Like any huge company, your nervous system has two main divisions. You've got your headquarters, or HQ, where all the big decisions get made. And then you have all the agents out in the field who are gathering intel and carrying out the orders from the top. And here they are. First, you've got the central nervous system, the CNS. This is our corporate HQ. It's the command and control center, made up of the brain and spinal cord. And on the other side, you've got the peripheral nervous system, the PNS. These are all of your field agents, every single nerve branching out through your body, acting as the communication network between HQ and, well, everywhere else. Now, if we look closer at HQ, it isn't just one big building. It has two absolutely critical parts. You've got the brain, which is kind of like the exclusive CEO suite where all the top-level strategies are formed, and then there's the spinal cord. Think of this as the main communication highway, like a super-fast fiber optic cable zipping messages between the CEO's office and all the field agents.
So, if the brain is the CEO's suite, then who's actually in there running the show? Come on, let's take a quick tour inside and meet the top executives who keep this whole operation humming.
You've really got three key players at the top. First is the cerebrum. This is the president, the big boss who's in charge of all the high-level stuff. Thinking, planning, you name it. Then there's the cerebellum. This is our chief operating officer, or COO, coordinating all the physical movements and operations. And finally, you have the brainstem. This guy is like the head of security and life support, managing all the automatic things that keep us alive without us even thinking about it.
Now, let's zoom in on that big boss for a second, the cerebrum. To really understand how it's set up, our source material gives us this perfect analogy. It says to think of its biggest part, the cerebral hemispheres, as the chief executive officer, the CEO.
But, a busy CEO can't deal with every single piece of information that comes in. That's where the thalamus steps in. It's the general manager. And here's the crucial part. Almost all sensory information, everything you see, hear, and feel, has to pass through the GM's office before it can ever reach the CEO. It is the ultimate gatekeeper.
So to handle all of its complex jobs, our CEO, the cerebrum, is divided up into different departments, which we call lobes. So let's take a quick walk around and see what these specialized departments do. First up, right behind your forehead, you've got the frontal lobe. This is the company's planning department. It's your internal strategist, handling problem solving, making future plans, and giving the green light for you to do things, like reaching for your cup of coffee. Next up is the parietal lobe, which is our sensory input department. It is constantly processing information from the world. The feeling of the chair you're on, the temperature of the air, the pressure of your feet on the floor. This department takes all that raw data and actually makes sense of it. Over on the sides, right by your ears, is the temporal lobe. And you can probably guess what this is. It's the communications department. Its main job is to process sounds. In fact, the words you're hearing me say right now are being decoded and understood in that very department. Now, way at the very back of your head is the occipital lobe. You can think of this as the company's in-house visuals department. Its entire purpose, its whole reason for being, is to take the stream of light coming from your eyes and transform it into the rich, detailed world that you see all around you. And finally, tucked away deep on the inside, is the limbic lobe. This one is kind of like the company's culture and HR department. It handles the core drivers of everything we do, our emotions, our memories, and our basic survival instincts like hunger or fear. That sudden flash of a memory or a jolt of anxiety, it all starts here. So, we've toured the CEO's main departments, but let's not forget our other executives. Remember the cerebellum, our COO? It's constantly working in the background, managing your balance and coordinating your movements so they're smooth and precise. And the brainstem is just silently running life support, keeping your heart beating and your lungs breathing. No thought required.
All right, so we've met the whole executive team in HQ. Now it's time to head out into the field and see how the peripheral nervous system, our field agents, actually carry out their orders.
How does this whole company interact with the real world?
Well, our field agents come in two main varieties. First, you have the elite specialists, 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Think of these as special operatives who report directly to HQ. They handle all the complex tasks for your head and neck, things like sight, smell, hearing, and facial movements.
Then you've got the main workforce, 31 pairs of spinal nerves. These are the agents on the ground, branching off that main highway of the spinal cord to manage operations in literally every other part of your body, from your shoulders all the way down to your toes.
Now, these field agents operate in two very different modes. You've got the somatic system, which is basically manual control. These are the actions you choose to do, like deciding to stand up. And then you have the autonomic system, which is automatic control. It manages all the involuntary stuff you never think about, like your heart beating or your food digesting.
And that automatic system has two distinct settings. The sympathetic division is your fight or flight mode. This is the gas pedal. It kicks in when you're stressed, speeding up your heart, and getting your body ready for action. In contrast, the parasympathetic division is your rest and digest mode. This is the brake. It takes over when you're relaxed, calming everything down, so your body can take care of routine maintenance.
So we've seen the entire corporate structure, from the CEO all the way down to the field agents. But why does any of this matter? Why is understanding this blueprint so important? What's the big picture here?
Well, the crucial takeaway is this idea that structure dictates function. What that really means is that in the nervous system, every single part has a very specific job to do. So if one of our departments gets damaged, we see a very specific problem. Damage the occipital lobe, the visuals department, and you'll have problems with your vision. Damage the frontal lobe, the planning department, and it can affect your personality and decision-making. This map doesn't just explain how our bodies work, it explains what happens when they don't.
And that brings us to our final thought. As you're listening to this and processing all this information, which departments in your own brain are firing away and working together at this very moment to make sense of it all? Pretty amazing when you stop to think about it.